Hello everyone, today I'm going to show and explain to you guys how to install an amplifier in your car. Do you ever hear someone's car playing loud music and you want your car to sound like that? Today I'm going to show and explain the single most important thing you need in order to have a quality sounding strong system. Amplifier is easily the most important thing you'll need to make your speakers or bass sound better than ever. There are different types of amps, such as a mono amp, which will only work for the subwoofer, and there's a 4-channel amp, which is usually used to power your speakers. 4 channels, 4 speakers. This is a 4-channel amp. I'm going to show you guys how to install a mono amp, but it has the same connections, so basically the same thing. The first thing you guys do want to do is make sure that the negative charge in your battery is disconnected. If you don't disconnect the battery, then you run the risk of getting yourself shocked and just basically frying your amp, which would not be a good thing. Next, after you run all your cables from the battery back to where you plan to mount your amp, you begin connecting all the cables. The place you reconnect the cables is right here in the white and red ports, and your battery, your remote, and your ground cable. You will also need some small tools like a screwdriver, or whatever, basically any kind of screwdriver works. It just depends on the screws that you guys have with the amp. Also, you need the speaker wires, which this goes right to the amp, or right to the subwoofer actually. The first cable you always want to connect when you're connecting the amp is the ground cable. If you don't connect the ground cable properly, then you run the risk of frying your amp as well once you connect the battery after that. When you connect your ground cable, make sure the best place I found to connect it is underneath a spare tire. Just pop it in to any screw and make sure that it's metal on metal. There's no paint in between, so you scratch off that paint and then connect it. If you don't do that, then it won't be as strong as a connection, and that's still, you run the risk of ruining your amp or damaging your amp. After you run your ground cable to your amp, it doesn't really matter what cables you connect next. I usually connect the speaker wire last, mainly because it's the easiest one to connect, and it's basically a good way to end the system, and setting up the system. Closest, you close it up, and you're done after that. On your subwoofer, you'll see something that says positive and negative connection. It doesn't really matter which side of the speaker wire you connect, as long as that same side is connected on the amp. If you have negative to positive or positive and negative, that's not good. You want positive to positive, negative to negative. That is just so it has a better connection, and still that can ruin your amp if you don't do it right. So pretty much you have to be very careful that you're connecting everything correct, and when you buy your amp, you should have a directions and showing you guys the list of what cables need to go where. So it's a lot easier once you guys read off that list, read through that, and you know what goes to what and what doesn't go to what. Then you need to reconnect the battery and test up the amp that you've just installed. You reconnect the battery, make sure it's tight, and you turn your car on, make sure everything turns on okay, and you play a little bit of music, make sure it sounds alright. Next, after you do that, you're pretty much done. I'll just go back, double check all your connections, make sure they're all tight and they're all bolted down correctly, and make sure the amp is mounted correctly so it doesn't move around when you're driving or slam into like the door or something and break anything, even the door or the amp. That wouldn't be good. So today I briefly explained how to install the amplifier in your car. Like I said, guys, be very careful when you guys do this. It could easily go wrong. If you guys don't feel comfortable doing this, then I would definitely have a professional do it. It is expensive to get an amp installed, like $50 to get an amp installed, but it's also, if you don't know what you're doing, that's the best way to go. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick demonstration, and I hope you guys all enjoy your new amp in your system. Thanks.